morning, beautiful people. Welcome to yet another episode of the Younib Breakfast Show with me, Peninah Wachera. I hope you guys are woken up well and are excited to face your day. For me, I am really excited to have this conversation of the day. I hope now you are seated in a comfortable place in your sitting room, because whatever we are bringing to you will be something to inform you, educate you, and make you a better person. So as it is the norm here at the Younib Breakfast Show, let's go straight to the morning bite of the day. Today we're going to have a conversation when it comes to spreading awareness when it comes to mental health with teachers in schools. And as you can see, I am joined by faces that are familiar with you guys, our resident psychologists. But before I introduce them, remember this show is proudly brought to you by Miss Ashen and Younib organization, and we're trying to reach out to the community to teach you or to enlighten you on matters mental health. So if you need any psychological help, you can always get our psychologist through the number 0700 352 250, and they will be able to help you out. Yeah. So before, we had done a conversation when it comes to creating mental health awareness among students in school, and today we're doing now for the teachers. And our guest or our psychologist of the day are the faces that nimeshinda nikiwaambia mmezoea. So to start us off, let me introduce to you the guest of the day or the psychologist of the day today. On my left, we have Beula Njagi, and on my right, we have Valentine Ndiwa, and they are here to help us be able to intersect or to get to dissect the conversation of the day. But before we get into the conversation, I want us to look at a clip of what they have been doing, and they will come and tell us more of what really happened there.
Hoping that we'll be able to hear from you, a sharing forum whereby you'll be able to, as a teacher, the issues you're facing in your school, we'll be able to hear them out. And then once we have all that information, also the counselors will also be able to give you the information that they were able to collect from the students themselves.
My first approach is, you can't go to someone who is struggling with an issue, then they trust you with their issues. So it's a matter of you giving them that time. And that's why even for us counselors, when we receive clients, we usually get some clients who don't talk. They come for the sessions, but you're supposed to help them. So you have to be really patient with this person. And if you say she cries, it's okay for her to cry, because crying is a way of letting out the issues that are affecting her. Just to emphasize that what we do need to create kwanza is that safe space. Pali anajua this teacher cares about me. This teacher is not asking for information for the sake of information, but it's because she cares and she's here to help. So in the beginning, it can be frustrating for you because unataka kumsaidia, respond, hajibu, but just kushinda kumkumbusha that message that I am here to help. You can trust me. I am not going to do, it's not to set you in trouble, it's to get you help.
So yes, good morning to both of you.
Good morning.
I hope you guys are okay. Mko sawa, mko salama.
Yes.
So karibuni sana kwa Younib Breakfast Show. Already you know this is home for you. So you're always comfortable here, right? So we have watched a clip. Please tell us, Beula, what really have we watched?
Yeah. So what you have seen is a video of the day when we were meeting with the teachers of the schools that we've been going to. I think we've talked about the schools time a bit. We've been able to give a few details and a bit more details in the last episode that we did. So we were meeting with the teachers who, have allowed us to access their students. The ones who are actually supporting us in that, most of them were the teachers that were in charge of like the guidance and counseling sessions. And with that, we were just getting to hear a feel of what they experience in their students, getting to hear a feel of any changes that they have noticed since we started doing the psychoeducation interventions in their school. Yeah, so it was just a very interactive session of getting to hear the experiences, what they observe on a daily basis, any progress they have seen, what do they hope to see more of in the future. Yeah.
Okay, Valentine, what did you do that week specifically?
I would say that Beula as well put it out, because basically what you are doing is just trying to get the feedback of the sessions that we've been having in the schools, and also get to have an understanding on if we are going to go back to their schools, what are the key issues that we need to address in regards with the topics that we were teaching the students. And it was a very interactive sessions whereby the teachers got to share out like a lot of things that they have seen in their students, and even like Beula as well put it, the changes. So for me, where I sit, I feel like what Beula and Timbei and the entire Younib and PSC team have been able to do is very remarkable. Based on the responses that we got from the teachers, most of the teachers really appreciated the work that we had done. Yeah.
And they keep on saying that you guys are really doing quite a good job. But kama walimu waliwaambia, I'm also here to just tell you, you're doing really, really good job with the teachers in the schools actually. And we've seen how walikuwa very receptive actually to even accept to come.
Yeah.
That means that you guys are doing something. So asanteni sana for the good work. So coming to the conversation we are having right now, we want to know, kwanza, before we even get to any other thing, why is it important for teachers to be to have awareness when it comes to mental health issues?
For very many reasons. One, because they are humans as well, and they go through their own challenges in their personal lives, in their work lives, in whatever would affect every other person affects them. And I think one of the things that was I don't know if it was a shock, but one of the things that we noticed as we were going out to the fields is that these schools have very young teachers in actually the age bracket that, this project was started to cater to. And so it means that they are going through their own challenges, first of all, and then they have been entrusted with children who are also going through their own challenges, and they come from very diverse places, and they need to educate these children. But as we've always said, you cannot educate children who are so distressed for some of them to the extent where they can't even be present in school, or they can't understand, and it becomes evident in performance when you talk. Some of them, we have cases of truancy where they'll just not attend school. Some of them, as the teachers were saying, you have cases where students, there's a certain school where students, come to school mapema, and you might think, wow, that's a nice thing. They're excited to learn, but no, they come in early so that they can go hide behind some corner and smoke something so that they're set for the day. So these teachers are being entrusted with all these children, and they need to make sure that they educate them and release them out to the world. So if they're not aware about mental health challenges, one, they will not be able to cope with their own issues in life, and two, they'll not be able to help these children navigate their issues, so that by the time on our release, they're not releasing people who cannot function in the world because they are still very disturbed, just pumped with, what is dichotomous key, yet everything else is a mess. Yeah.
Okay, so I hope now we've gotten to understand the importance of having or creating mental awareness when it comes to teachers in school. So I remember when we were in school, there's a time ulikuwa unapata students wanasema, hey, this teacher has come with a stress from home. Huyu ametuletea stress zake kutoka kwa nyumbani. Why can't he just know how to differentiate? So this brings me to the second question of the day, which is, how does the mental well-being of teachers really affect the children or impact their effectiveness when it comes to working in the classrooms?
As we are growing up, most of us have come from school, and I believe even, we thought as we are growing up that school will come to an end. Yeah. Later, growing up and getting to realize it's just you who decides whether you want to continue with education or not. Yeah. So part of this, as we are growing up, teachers, we tend to look up to teachers so much. So if a teacher is bringing out their issues to you, it means even you as a student, like the way you said, like you could notice as this teacher is bringing to you the issues that they are experiencing at home, in terms of how they are going to communicate to you. There are those who would come to class and then they will start shouting instead of just communicating in a way that would bring a very conducive and peaceful environment. You find that some teachers, as a way of correcting their students, they tend to shout a lot. And maybe if a student does a mistake, instead of them being in a position to correct them with love, because sometimes correction, and even when it comes to punishment, if you don't correct in love, this is whereby we've seen a lot of the media cases. We've seen a lot of media which has brought out cases of whereby the teachers beat students to an extent that this student died. Why? Because this teacher was not able to address their own mental health concerns, and therefore they projected their issues. It even happens to us as human beings sometimes. In a work environment that we are having, maybe if you have an issue with your boss, and then now maybe if you have a child, you take that issue to the child. So you find that in some schools, you find that some students tend to experience the effects of what the teachers have been experiencing at home. And that is why we are here to talk about their mental wellness, so that if they are able to address their concerns and know, if I behave like this, it means something is happening in my home environment that I need to change. Yeah. So some of these teachers will portray characteristics of being very impatient. And since you're not patient enough to handle your own concerns, just like I've put it, is that you're going to project your issues to the students. You're not going to provide a safe and conducive environment to learn. And then the other thing, if a teacher is struggling with mental health problems, when you talk about mental health concerns, teachers, like Beula as well put it, teachers they are human beings. So they can experience depression, they can experience anxiety, they can experience psychotic problems. Maybe an example would be schizophrenia. So if a teacher is not in a position to get the best support, maybe from where they are coming from and even from the school, you'll find that even if I'll give an example of this teacher who is suffering from depression. Depression comes with a whole lot of symptoms. Yeah. So this teacher will not be able to concentrate and even teach in class. And therefore, what would happen to the students? You will find that their ability to learn would reduce, hence affecting their performance. If the students were performing well, they'll not be in a position to perform very well. And the fact that I've said that students are looking up to teachers. And if you're this teacher who is not warm and welcoming, so you find that if students are experiencing some issues, they'll not be able to come to tell you. So it might be that maybe a student is not understanding the subjects that you're teaching them, and because you've put that in some kind of a resistance, juu ya venye uko mkali, when a student akikwambia kitu, you just become easily irritated or annoyed, you find that students will not be in a position to to come to you. I don't know if Beula has something to add.
Well, before Beula adds something or anything, I want us to think about really how our teachers really affected us. There are some of us when you go home and we have traumas just from our own teachers. So as we think about the trauma that you have gone through because of the teacher, consider sending in those two traumas to our social media platforms. That is Younib_TV on Instagram, Younib Media TV on Facebook, and there's a number on your screen. You can SMS or WhatsApp 0719 144 144, and we look forward to having this conversation with you guys. So for now, let's take this short break and we'll be back with more. Welcome back. This is still the Younib Breakfast Show with me, Peninah, Wachera, and my lovely psychologist, Beula and Valentine. And we are here to talk about the mental awareness when it comes to teachers in schools. And before the break, we've been informed more on how the impact of teachers having good mental health really affects students. If a teacher doesn't have good mental health, definitely the child or the student that he's teaching will not have good mental health, and vice versa, So that is the conversation we are having. And before the break, nilikuwa nimecut short Beula, and I don't know whether she has something to add. Did you have anything to add?
I think Valentine has very well put it, just how, what could potentially happen if teachers do not take care of their own mental health. Yeah, and I think now I'm actually excited to see what people will share with us regarding those stories.
The stories and the trauma that the teachers have done to them. So send them in actually through our social media platform, Younib_TV on Instagram, Younib Media TV on Facebook, and there's a number on your screen, 0719 144 144. We look forward to those conversations, right? And remember, if you need any help with your mental health, you can always contact our our psychologist through the number 0700-352-250, and they will be able to help you out. So coming back to our conversation, we've seen that it's quite challenging. If a teacher has mental health problems, definitely the child will have. But now I want us to go now to the side of the teachers, because we already tackled the students, right? I want us now to know what are some of the challenges that really teachers go through when it comes to also their mental health while they're working with the children.
Right. So I think I'll go back to just mentioning what we came to find out in the schools that we interacted with. We know that that does not represent the entire country, but there is a good chance that majority of those teachers are within their 20s to their 30s. They're young people. And with that, there's already a lot of challenges. Some of them grew up in very difficult experiences, and perhaps that's what motivated them to even be teachers. But when that happens, of course, there's trauma that's happened along the way that they could either consciously or subconsciously be processing still, and it could show up in their daily lives. Again, there's also quite a number of teachers in certain places where you'll find they're really struggling with alcohol or any form of drug abuse. I remember when I was in high school, there was one, Kwanzaa, he was a CRE teacher, that, would always come on Monday, and you can tell this one had a weekend. So because again, the age in which they fall and the means for dealing with certain stresses, again, you find the things that are troubling the young people now, they're not exempt from that because this is their bracket. So we've mentioned drug and alcohol abuse. There are some who are into gambling and things, and so it puts them in a lot of financial strain. And already there's always been such a battle with the government concerning, teachers, and do they get what they deserve? Are they being paid enough? So already there's financial issues given their profession, especially with the politics that come with being, are you a government teacher, are you a private school teacher? So now if you add other financial constraints that come from, addictions such as gambling, it just blows things out of proportion. There are those ones who are supporting either their own families of procreation or their families of origin. So again, there's a lot of pressure on them from that. There's, the pressure that comes from the school system itself, whereby there's these limitations or these expectations, or you need to have covered your syllabus by this time. So all of these things are stresses that have been added on top of what's already happening in their lives. Perhaps Valentine could share more insight.
No, I think Beula as well put it. And the fact that she said that teachers are humans. So from all those challenges, and I'm glad she's even given the example of the CRE teacher. So probably this CRE teacher was using alcohol as a means of coping with the stresses that the teachers are experiencing. Then the other key thing that is really coming up, especially in let me just say our generation, because most of our young mothers are in the age bracket that we are in. Like, parents have really failed in their responsibilities in terms of bringing up their kids. So they have put these responsibilities on their teachers, and these responsibilities are really straining them, because they have their own issues to handle. Then you as a parent, you are leaving your responsibility to the teacher, because some of the teachers shared that some parents are leaving the students into their care, and this is a teacher, not a parent. So you find that as a parent, you're supposed to provide food, maybe clothes, maybe shelter and clothing, but this teacher is not in a position to do that. And because he or she is a human being, it will tend to affect their mental well-being. The fact that they have been given so much responsibilities by their parents. So I believe that if parents out there take their responsibility, even the responsibility, if parents take their responsibility, the cases of mental health problems will reduce among the teachers. And then also the other responsibility of bringing this child is also left to the teacher, and it's an overwhelming concern for the teacher, because the teacher has to play the role of being a parent and the teacher, and it cannot work well with them.
Okay, so it is important for the parents to actually take up their responsibilities. And I think that now CBC will come and help that out, because they see the teacher, and you go do with your parent, and that will help them be able to spend more time with their children. And I feel like that will be something that we can really grow and it can really help the teachers, right? So what are the signs that a teacher or somebody can see, maybe other teachers in the school or maybe the management in the school can see and say this teacher is not well mentally?
Of course, there are some of those key signs that they can see. I think I've shared some of the concern, like if students behave in a manner that the teacher is not pleased with. Maybe if students are prone to making noise, then instead of correcting the student as a teacher, maybe shout, and then you start beating them. And okay, we are African, and some of us really received some thorough beating in school because as African, we say that it's a way of correcting. So, but there is a way that a teacher would beat you, and it will show this teacher is not doing well. A case that I've given out of this teacher who beats a student to the point of death, it shows you that this teacher is not doing well mentally. Then the other thing, when they are given tasks, a very important task is teaching, they are not able to concentrate and even to focus on that. Then the other things, they are not able to manage maybe their hygiene. There are those teachers who would come to school until the students will look at them and they'll be like, is this really a teacher? As students, we are always looking up to the teacher. So how is the teacher dressing? Has the teacher combed maybe their hair, they brushed their teeth? There are some teachers who maybe some of the teachers who are experiencing mental health challenges when it comes to hygiene, when it comes to them doing their normal daily tasks, it will be very difficult for them to do. A simple task such as teaching will become very difficult for the teacher to teach, and therefore it will affect even the performance of the students, and even how the whole school will look up to him or her, because at the end of the day, if you're not performing in school, you're not teaching the students, what will happen to you? Most likely maybe the director or the school head teacher would facilitate that you have to terminate your work, and that would also cause other problems. So as when a teacher is struggling with mental health problems, it means that they'll not be able to do the tasks that they are required to do. So those are the signs that you are supposed to look at and know, this person or this teacher is going through the most, right? And we have spoken about stress, and stress is something that teachers mostly watapata, because you can imagine dealing with 30 kids. All of them are different, You get one who is very social, who is the noisemaker always. Then there's that one who is always quiet, who will take the blame for everyone every single time. And there are those ones who are now just, as you said, wale tu wenye kazi tu ni kuenda vile wanajisikia, like they just don't want to follow the rules of the school and everything. So this may give the teacher stress, right? So how does the stress of teaching really affect teachers when it comes to their overall mental health?
Again, we'll go back to they are human, So of course, these things that you've described, these different dynamics, when they're compounded with things that they're already going through in their lives, it has the potential to blow up or to escalate to now these symptoms that Valentine was talking about. So we see that if there are, if this teacher does not have either good or healthy coping skills that they're practicing. These students, with either, they could be that they're troubled students, or it just could be that this is their personality. They just don't go in, they're bubbly, they want to ask questions, and this teacher is already suffering from depression, and there's a student in class that's just like this all the time. There's a likelihood that they will begin to decline in their functionality and begin to experience these symptoms that Valentine was talking about. So the danger of that stress is that if it's not dealt with, then we might now start actually looking at psychiatric conditions that, Valentine has mentioned, the likes of depression, the likes of anxiety, the likes of substance use disorders, the likes of psychotic disorders or mood disorders such as bipolar could be triggered because of a lack of proper management of the stress that they are having in their personal life, and then now the added stress of what it means to be a teacher, as Valentine has very well put it, that they get to handle, people's children for a longer period of time during the day than the parents have them for. And if anything is to happen in this child's life, mzazi atasema ni nini? Ni mwalimu anafaa kudeal na yeye, or watu una threaten mtoto nitakupeleka shule, let your teachers, it's like, and that's also what we were hearing from the teachers, that it's like parents are giving over that responsibility to them, and it's a lot of pressure. So if the proper coping mechanisms are not put in place, then there is a danger that this stress becomes chronic and develops into other more serious conditions. So we've seen the pressure that we as parents, or the parents out there, are giving to teachers, and this may affect their mental health specifically, and make them not function well when it comes to school. So as we think about this also, and we'll come back also to know about the environment, because I know it's important, the environment that they are in, the school, the administration, all of them play a role, right? So as we are going for this break, we'll be coming back to answer what the environment and administration should do for the teachers so that they can have good mental health. So don't touch that, then we'll be right back.
this is still the Younib Breakfast Show, and today we're speaking about the importance of creating mental health awareness among teachers in school. Before the break, I had said that we're coming to answer more about the environment and what the environment really does to help the teachers. So I want us to just go there straight here. So how can now schools, because we've said it's important for schools, the administration, the management, and we know they have a role. Because before even I ask this question, let's go to what is the role of the management and also the administration when it comes to supporting teachers' mental health?
Wow. Thank you for that question, because the administrators play a very important role in promoting the mental health or mental well-being of their teachers, in the sense that Beula has put that they have a lot of pressures in terms of the working hours. There are some schools where teachers are supposed to be in class by 6 a.m. So inamaanisha that this teacher really has to wake up very early for them to be in school. And then the other thing, their programs are too tight. Maybe it's lesson after lesson after lesson after lesson. The teacher doesn't have that time to reflect on what they are teaching, or whether even their students are understanding what he or she is teaching them. So you find that all this work environment puts a lot of pressures on the teachers. So if the teachers and the school administrators can come up and sit and come up with that program, for example, in this case, the program would be of timetabling, like how structured are our lessons to reduce things like fatigue. Beula said they are humans, so they even get tired. And what happens when you are tired? You also need to rest. So if the administrators can come up with a program that supports the well-being of the teachers in terms of the number of hours that they are spending with their students in school, it will give even the teachers a time to go out and even relax with their family members and even enjoy their own free time, not necessarily with their family members. Because something as simple as going for a picnic or going to watch a movie or a game or just walking around in nature would really help in reducing their stresses. So this would only come if the school administrators create that. And then what is the school administration doing? Do they have that program whereby they have something like a teacher's trip? You know, if they have something like a teacher's trip or a program that is supposed to mentor the teachers on how to perform well in their classroom, it will really help the teachers to do well in terms of their mental well-being. Mm-hmm. So the school administrators really have a very important role. And then even us, like people like us going into their school, they have that role of accepting people such as the counselors or even the healthcare practitioners, not necessarily the counselors, because even the students and the teachers, they do have their own physiological concerns that if they are not addressed, they tend to affect their psychological concerns. So if they give room for people like counselors, and in this I would say there are some of the schools which didn't much embrace the counseling sessions in their schools. Mm. So big up to those people, the administrators in the schools who really accept people such as counselors to come and even share some of the things that the students would use, and even the teachers too. The teachers use, so that it can promote their mental well-being.
Which is quite good. And I feel like the question that I'm going to ask is quite intertwined with this. So as before I said, I'll ask about the environment. So how can schools really create a supportive environment when it comes to prioritizing the mental health of their teachers?
Yeah, it's a good question, and this is an important discussion, and I'm just adding on to what Valentine has already shared. Yeah. But what we do need is to create a system that is healthy for everyone in the school, for the director, the head principal, the teachers, and the students. And this means first being able to look at what are the needs, in that specific school. And what we even got to see is that different schools have different needs because they're in different, communities. And so the challenges that walimu in, say, Langata or Karen are very different than the challenges in a school in Kisumu and the teachers there, just because of, what's happening around. So if the system could implement interventions that cater to that, like if we know you're in a space that probably is a low income community, then what are the ways that these teachers can be supported? Are there, what can you put in place for them so that when they're teaching you children, they're not just thinking, my God, nitafika home nipate kumefungwa, because there's no rent, there's no this, there's no that. So in the two small things, are there things that can be done, or if they're happening, that can be strengthened, like the body that really advocates for the rights for teachers, how can it have a healthy interaction with either the government, if it's for the schools in the public sector, and what can the schools, the teachers in the private sector also get that kind of help them address the major challenges that could be going on within those communities. And then coming now down to the psychological needs, it's as Valentine has said, is it possible to have a professional there to address the needs of the teachers, to address the needs of the students that maybe the teachers will not be able to address? So it's not enough to just have a teacher who is trained in guidance and counseling, because again, their fellow teachers may not even feel comfortable sharing their details with them. But could we just have a professional there to be able to, come and address those needs? Yeah.
Okay, and now I know we have gotten to understand, or we've gotten to discuss matters on why is it important to have mental awareness when it comes to teachers, mental health awareness, and also we've gotten to identify the challenge, the difficulty, what are the challenges that these teachers are going. So definitely what we expect is what strategies they can be able to implement, and there comes the question. So we've gotten to understand their challenges. How now? What are the strategies that if a teacher, for example, has stress because of the school ako, ama there are things that enyewe anapata akifika shule anaona manze, this is where my stress begins every single time. Akitoka ndo kwa zile za finally I'm going home, and they don't maybe feel even like waking up in the morning to just go to work, simply because they feel where am I even going? I'm just doing this for the sake of getting income, for the sake of my family and everything. So what are the strategies that they can be able to implement to make their mental health better, so that they can be able also to serve the children well?
Wow. Strategies. I believe answering that question would lead us to what we've discussed. Like, if I can say what Beula has said, having a therapist or a counselor or a school counselor to address some of the psychological concerns of the students and that of the teachers and even the administrators. They are also humans. So probably maybe the reasons why some of them may be very strict would be is because of the psychological concerns or challenges that they are going through. So having a counselor or a therapist there would really be helpful to address some of the concerns that they are going through. And this will lead to the fact that, let me give an example of some of the schools. You find that the schools that we went, you find that when we went there and the students were able to share some of the pressing concerns that they had, we were acting like mediators. Maybe a teacher would not feel comfortable to face the director head on. So if there is a mediator in between, he or she will be able to go and tell the the director or those people who are in charge of the school what is happening in the school, and having the counselor or therapist or a school psychologist would really be in a position to help the school come up with effective programs in terms of the learning and even the co-curricular activities, because this would really help the students as well as the teachers be in a mental state that is apt as to how they are supposed to be as human beings. So involving a psychology in their school is really important, because the main challenge that we are facing as a country, you say that even you I believe you have experience in your school that maybe your CRE teacher was your guidance and counseling teacher, and you'd find that some of them, because of in counseling there is something called ethics. So in this case, you having the teacher and the teacher being the guidance and counseling teacher, as well as the CRE teacher or a math teacher, it would breach the confidentialities, because you don't want to share your issue and then the next you find that maybe your classmate knows about that. And those are some of the things that we experienced in schools, and that's why everybody, if you tell students to go to a counselor, they'll be like, no, staki kesho nisikie, like the whole school inajua the things that I'm going through. So if you involve a school psychologist, then he or she will be able to help you address all these concerns that are happening in the schools and that are affecting the schools, because the psychologist will be able to tell you what to do in regard to what should be done in your school. Yeah.
So in short, if a teacher is going through all these problems, it's good for them to seek help from a psychologist, right? So what is your parting shot when it comes to this discussion?
Is that let's keep the discussion alive, in the sense of we keep raising awareness about these issues that teachers are going through, students are going through, parents are going through. We understand that there's no enemy, because I think that is also what was coming out clear when we met with the teachers. It feels like, the parents think the teachers are the enemy, and the teachers are so frustrated. No, they're like, no, you parents. So it's now becoming a war. Who do we blame? And then when we are tired of blaming each other, we will now blame serikali,
Yeah.
But how about we all look at what is happening in me, what is happening in the space around me, what can I do about it? So if there's a teacher listening, for them to begin to think about, are they okay? Do they need to get help? Do they need to ask for support? Do they need to advocate maybe for another teacher they've seen these symptoms in the school, and maybe the teacher can't reach out? Can they talk to the administration and say, by the way, we need a teacher's day, or we need a mental health day, or we need... So if everyone can begin to take responsibility for their own wellness and then for just your neighbor, then I think some of these changes will actually begin to happen. Yeah.
So we start doing the change that we want to see, right?
Yeah.
Your parting shot, Valentine.
Okay, for me, I would say that mental wellness starts with you as an individual. If you're not well mentally, it means that you'll even affect the next person who is to you. And that's why if a teacher is not well, the students will be affected, the whole administration would be affected. And therefore, my parting shot would be is that let us learn to note some of the symptoms that depict that you are not doing okay. And once we are aware that you are not okay, let us seek the necessary help that is required in order for us to be okay. And especially for teachers, because students are looking up to you. You are their mentors. For me, I usually see my teacher on the TV. Okay, I'll not mention the position that she has, and I feel like, wow, that's my teacher. I need to be where she is, because I look up to the teacher. And the fact is, because she was okay mentally, physically, she was in a position to teach us well and encourage us to be better people in the society. So as teachers, let us learn to take care of our mental health so that we are able to address the needs of the students who are given to us.
Yeah, awesome. I feel like you guys, your parting shot is spot on. and I hope that we will be the change that we want to see. We will be the people also advocating for our own mental health as teachers, right? And you know, as in this conversation that we got Kisema, our teachers have been they've played quite a role when it comes to our lives. You've seen them when you're going to school. Definitely you want to see this person as your mentor. If for example you're going through the most at school, there was that one teacher that you could feel, and you know me, we do not there when I have the problem. And it is really important for us to understand that they are also human, and they also have the need for psychology or psychological help, for mental health help. And it's between us as the school administrators, us as the management, to be able to make this workable so that they can be able to mentor the students that they have been brought to them, right? So thank you so much for this conversation and for enlightening us on the matters about teachers. I know now they have a voice, right? They now know what they can be able to do better, right? And also the parents now have gotten to understand, and we've been doing a lot of things to our teachers, and that is why we need to maybe step up as parents. And I feel like this should start a conversation that will help even our own parents in school, to take up the responsibility and even talk to the management to tell them, Banze, we feel like we have been not doing our own work, so let's start this right now, yeah? And this will be able to do more good to the school, to the students, and also to the teachers themselves. So asanteni sana. To everyone who has made this show a success, thank you so much for always being there and for always making sure that this show comes to our viewers the way it is. Thank you so much to Jonte for being behind the camera, and to Elias Muchina for being our director. Asante Nisana. And to everyone who has been working behind the scenes, Asante. I know I cannot always mention all of you, but thank you for the good work you're doing. To our viewers, thank you for always sending in your views and for sharing to everyone, to the people who you've been sharing to, and waweze kusoma more about the mental health conversations we've been having so far. And I'm telling you, we have seen that you guys enyewe mnatuonyesha you really are benefiting from this conversation, and we're really grateful. So as I usually say, it's good to share to the people who maybe you cannot personally, unaweza kuwa maybe hii hekushiki mahali, but you know of a teacher, you know of a parent, you can be able to just forward the link to them and show them this is how they should be doing things. This, as a parent, this is what you should be doing this. And I think that is how we'll build a better place. So asanteni sana. Until next time, do have a beautiful day ahead. Goodbye.